Meeting commences. I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the land of the Bidjigal and Gadigal people who occupied the Sydney coast, being the traditional owners. On behalf of Randwick Local Planning Panel, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal people in attendance today. Good afternoon and welcome to the Local Planning Panel. I'm the chair of the panel and my name is Stephen Lehman. With me are expert members Tina Christie and Professor Awais Piracha and community representative Stephanie Schofield. Prior to the commencement of this meeting, all panel members were required to sign a declaration of interest in relation to each matter on the agenda. I can confirm that all declarations of interest have been received and that no conflicts were identified. The signed declarations of interest will be available to view through Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. Do any of the panel members have any further matters to declare? No? Thank you. Today we have a number of speakers registered to address the panel. We have two in respect of 77 to 79 Mount Street, Coogee. We have one is an objector, one is the applicant. In respect of 21 Baden Street, Coogee, we have two for the objector, two objectors and two for the applicant. And in respect of 56 to 58 Brim Street, Coogee, we have an objector. That's a total of 7 speakers. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the panel. If it is considered appropriate, I will allow a 1 minute extension upon request. However, no further extension will be granted. However, questions may be asked by the panel of the speakers to give you further opportunity to address issues raised. The panel has been provided with copies of all submissions received in response to the public exhibition of the application. Therefore, there is no need for speakers to repeat all the points made in those submissions. Speakers should focus on the key matters they wish us to understand and consider, including any suggestions about how their concerns could be resolved. The applicant may wish to comment on issues raised in Council's report, provide a response to proposed conditions, if appropriate, and or address any issues raised by an objector or councillor. After the speaker has addressed the panel, panel members may ask the speaker questions to clarify any matters, so please stay on the line until we've been passed through that phase and there are no more questions. Only registered speakers will be allowed to speak and respond to questions from the panel. Any person using defamatory or offensive language may be asked to leave the meeting, or the meeting may be adjourned. An audio recording is being made of this meeting, and we ask that speakers use the microphone or on their device when addressing the panel to ensure that their comments are recorded. The audio recording will be available through the Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. After all of the registered speakers have been heard, the panel will deliberate and in private and vote on each matter in a closed session. The first application I have on my speakers list is DA 29/25, 77 to 79 Mount Street, Coogee. Sorry, that's item D 29/25, 77 Mount Street, Coogee. The DA number is 222/2025. Could we have Angus Falstein address the panel, please? Is Angus Falstein with us? I see. Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So my reason for objecting to this is that.
Can you speak up a little louder? Sorry.
Sorry, you're a little loud. Okay.
A bit muffled.
Okay. Sorry. my objection is that we're losing 3 car parks in the street for residents and creating 2 for the unit block. The original application that he put in we lost 1 car park and created 2 within the unit zone, which we're okay with. That seems fine. But since we're losing 3 spots on the street and only creating 2 for new residents, it seems like it's that the community is losing car spots on the street. It's a very, very busy street. Parking is always hard in that area for residents, especially in summertime when when it's a nice summer's day and everyone wants to go down to the beach. The other thing is there is a Telstra pit in the proposed driveway location. So I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that, because that would be, obviously, there'll be costs and things involved in trying to get Telstra to relocate their pit. Yeah. And there's also in that street, there's 2 disabled car spots in that street that are generally empty. So there's already spots in the street that are taken up for people that can't be used by local residents. So my concern is that we're losing car spots and we're not creating anything for residents.
Fine. I think I understand your argument, and we've visited the site. We've had a close look at what's happening in the road reserve. So I'll leave it at that for the moment, and I'll ask the panel if they have any comments or questions of this speaker. I think we understand the issue. Fundamentally, you're losing a car space in a highly constrained street situation. I can understand that completely, and I think I'd like to have a closer look if there's another way to provide off-street parking without the loss of additional street spaces. That's just me. I'll be asking the council staff to address that when we're deliberating. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, because the original design showed 1 driveway with 2 car spots, which meant that we lost 1 on the street and created 2, which I think was a good outcome. But apparently
that's the goal, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Angus. We have the applicant now, Jason Klump, on behalf of the applicant, I should say. Jason.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I'll address Angus's comments first of all. We agree 100% with what he's said. So we reviewed all of the submissions in preparing for this meeting, and not surprisingly, the majority of them were related to concerns about a loss of parking. Which are actually concerns that my client shares, and that was the reason why we submitted the application in the first place. So, in preparing our application, we worked closely with our town planner and our traffic engineer to come up with a solution that minimised the impacts on the street, and we aimed to achieve a net improvement in parking for the locality. The solution that we submitted to council had been carefully designed to achieve 2 parking spaces off the street and a loss of 1 space on the street, so that we had a net gain of 1 parking space. Now, council's engineer, however, didn't support the angled spaces that we designed, and they requested the spaces to be perpendicular to the boundary. And they also requested us to investigate that Telstra pit and get Telstra to confirm what works were required and if in fact it could be made to be trafficable if it wasn't already. So we redesigned the parking spaces in coordination with our traffic engineer to provide 2 spaces at 90 degrees to the boundary as the engineer had requested, and with a shared driveway so that we still only lost 1 space in the street. Now, council's engineer came back from that one and again said that they didn't support that design and that they wanted individual crossovers for each parking space. And we made the note to them that that would mean a loss of 3 spaces in the street and a net loss of 1 space for the neighbourhood. And they advised us that that was acceptable to them and that they would support the application. We were still being held up with trying to obtain a response from Telstra. It was quite a difficult process trying to get responses out of them. So in the end, we amended that design and we ended up agreeing to remove the northern space that was impacted by the Telstra pit because we hadn't obtained any correspondence from Telstra on what needed to be done there.
Yeah, that's can you wind up, please, Jason?
Okay, sure. So essentially, we've ended up now with the application that is only for 1 parking space with 1 crossover, and we actually received confirmation from Telstra the day after we submitted that plan, saying that we could actually upgrade that pit, and we've received the works order for that. But essentially, the application as it stands is for 1 parking space with a loss of 1 parking space on the street, so a neutral impact.
Okay, thank you. So the pit is something that can be dealt with. The question remaining is presumably the sight line, but we'll determine this in consultation with council's engineer. Yeah, well, one thing that came up in discussion amongst us is it possible to combine the 2 car spaces together in the middle of the site, rather than at the at the edges of the site? And then
we did investigate. Sorry.
Yeah.
We did investigate that option when we were going through the process. The issue that we had is that the entry to those ground floor units, the doors are in the centre. So if we provided parking, we would essentially block the access to the units. So that was why we needed to actually move them outboard so that we could maintain an entry path to the units.
Well, the question for you is, would you rather have an extra car space or have to go forward and then turn around the corner? It doesn't block it. It doesn't prevent access to the first floor, to the ground floor door, does it? You just go on, you'd enter onto the veranda. Like if the 2 cars were sort of basically in the middle of the site, get outside, go onto the veranda, turn left or right, and then you'd be able to access the doorway. Would you not?
Yes, yeah, we could look at that option.
You just wouldn't have a straight line from the car park from the car to the door.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
That's
dissimilar to dual occupancy scenario.
Sorry, what was that?
Open to?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Be open to?
Yes, I think that is something we'd be able to do.
Well, open to. We'll need to discuss it with council's engineer.
Okay.
But we would like to see no more than 1 space lost to the street, and we want to see a net gain in parking in the street.
And that's exactly what our aim was as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Well, sorry. Before you go, my apologies. Panel, do you have any questions for this, or comments for this speaker?
No further comments.
No. Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next on my speaker list, I've got in relation to item D30 of 21 Baden Street, Coogee, DA 331/2025. Objector, first speaker is Objector Kelly Seymour. Is Kelly Seymour with us?
Hi, yes, I am. Thanks. Yeah, hi.
Hey, Kelly. I call you Kelly? Yes.
Yes, please do.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so thanks for taking the time to listen to me today. I'm actually owner-occupier of Unit 8 of 23 Baden Street, which is immediately east of 21 Baden Street, and I'm speaking from a personal perspective and would like to share my reasons for objecting to this application. We have only west-facing openings from our unit. Currently, it's an open field, spacious, private, unobstructive, panoramic views, including landmarks of Coogee Beach, the promenade, the Rainbow Steps and Coogee Pavilion, as well as beautiful district, skyline and sunset views. Look, we stand to lose all of this.
Can I just interrupt you there? You're on the west side and you've got views of Coogee Beach.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have views of down the beach, not the ocean, but the beach.
Towards the front, or to the side, as it were.
Yes, yep, to the side. That's
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So, we'll lose all of this if this application goes ahead due to the visual bulk, the height. We'll lose the open feel of our home. It'll be a bit like pulling a blind down in front of our living areas, darkness and enclosure. We sort of feel the applicant's effectively maximising views for private gain at the complete expense of others, which doesn't present view sharing at all. I think others in the neighbourhood might also be affected, example Arcadia Street and beyond. Some might not even be aware of the extent of the development until it actually goes up. There's also no setback from the back boundary, from our side boundary, sorry, at the rear of the development. The building is going to be right on the boundary. I can't understand how that can be allowed. Number 19, I think, is a prime example of complying with regulations. It's number 19 Baden Street, without increasing the bulk or the height or degrading the character of the area. Also solar access, we're going to lose our solar access. At the moment, we receive a lot of sunlight through the afternoon in winter. That'll be lost completely. As I said, we've only got west-facing openings, so we rely heavily on the good amenity from this direction. I feel, it'd be unjustified overshadowing that's going to block our solar access, affecting our health and well-being. Number 19 Baden Street also stands to lose sunlight in the mornings. The rooftop terrace is another concern, gives very real potential for large gatherings that will definitely disrupt the peaceful enjoyment of our homes, and it's such a high density area. Noise travels easily, can affect large numbers of people. Even moderate levels of conversation, music and social activities carries far, especially at night, potentially reaching hundreds of homes in the nearby area. Also privacy concerns for neighbours due to overlooking. I'm just really throughout the whole application, the applicants sought approval for non-compliances. Previous applications were refused by the council and LEC, and this application stands to have the same impacts on us as previously refused applications. So really, if this proposal is to go ahead, being 5 floors with a rooftop terrace, the impact in terms of loss of views, overshadowing, visual bulk, noise, loss of privacy would be devastating on our residential amenity.
4 minutes are up. We have some questions for you. I'll give you an opportunity to speak further.
Yeah, sure.
To clarify, you live in at the rear, as it were, of 23. Is that right?
At the side, so directly west of.
So what level are you on?
Level 2.
Level 2.
It's actually 3 levels up if you include the the basement level.
So you were concerned about building built to the boundary. That is coming up to the garage level, no higher than that.
Our garage level on our.
Yeah, the garage level on your block.
Yes,
So,
but I believe the development's going to be coming higher than the garage level.
So its roof will be 2 levels. It'll be the floor level of the level below you. Do you follow that? The roof, there's a 2-story element which has got a nil boundary setback in this proposal, and it's set against the high boundary wall, common boundary wall with your development,
block.
number
Yeah.
23. So it's about a story and a half below the top of that wall. It projects about half a story, or just use that as if that's easy to follow, above the existing, there's a metal picket handrail there.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You're a level above that.
That's right. Yep.
So you'll be looking down on a landscaped roof there.
Yeah, we'll be looking down on that part of it. Yeah. I just didn't think you were really allowed to build right to the boundaries.
Well, if the boundary's a blank wall, it's probably not unreasonable. It does happen a lot in situations, but there's no amenity impact, certainly by any of that element below the top of the wall. And in the alley, well, it faces garages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you understood that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think I can see the configuration of your unit. You've got a bedroom, which is about 5 metres from the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And then another bedroom, which is about 9.4 metres from the boundary. Does that sound like you?
No, ours is we've got the balcony and our kitchen, dining, living area, and a bedroom along that wall that faces directly to the west. So our balcony, living area, and main bedroom face the proposed development.
Just say that again, please. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Our balcony, living area, kitchen, dining area, and the main bedroom face the proposed development, face directly onto 21 Baden Street.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, it's Tina and Christy here. So where is your balcony for your unit? Is it at the front or the side or the rear of your building?
The side,
Right.
the western side. Yeah. Have you got the submission that I put in? Because there's some really clear photos that show that where our view loss and solar loss is going to be.
It's just not showing on the floor plans we've got.
Yeah, on our side there's unit above mine is unit 13 as well. So there's unit 8, unit 13.
The front, that's the southwestern corner. You're in the northwestern corner, correct? Is that right? With the rear?
We're actually at the side of the building, the western.
Yeah, at the rear. Is that right?
No.
In the middle.
In the middle. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I've got it. I beg your pardon. I was just, yeah, no, I see now. I see this now.
Yeah.
So the yeah. I've got it now. I'm sorry. I was.
That's okay.
The level that's the zero setback, I'll call it the zero setback area that's on the boundary is offset somewhat from your living area. There's no view line because it's a blank wall. You're looking down on a landscape roof, and there's privacy devices on the windows. You see those on? Did you see those on the plans?
Yeah.
So I think privacy is dealt with.
Yeah, for that part of it, the privacy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is that right?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Are you concerned about loss of views?
Yes, but not for loss of views and solar access, but not from the part that's on the boundary. It's more so over where we can actually see over the top of the building to the district views. Sure. And down to the beaches and things like that. Not to do with the setback from the boundary in that particular part.
No, I was moving on from that point. Yeah, I understood.
Okay.
Oh, look, I think that's enough questions from me. I don't know if there's any further questions, comments from the panel or this speaker.
Just, I guess that, do you have the written submission that actually gives a really good indication of what we stand to lose in terms of
Yeah, well,
solar access and views?
I'll have a look at that. Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
have
that'd
that.
be great if you could refer to that too. That's yeah, gives a really good indication of where we stand and how devastating the impact is going to be.
Good, thank you, Kelly.
Great. Okay. Thanks very much for your time.
We have Patrick Cunningham, an objector.
Good afternoon, panel.
Good afternoon.
I'm here, coming under my partner's name, Justine O'Sullivan, on the screen.
Okay.
Good afternoon, panel members, and thank you for the opportunity to address in regards to the 21 Baden Street. Regarding deep soil compliance, the applicant claims to provide 149.8 square metres of deep soil across the site, just slightly exceeding the required 145 square metres. However, upon reviewing the landscape plans and descriptions, it appears that a significant portion of this area does not meet the definition or intent of deep soil planting zones. The rear of the property is said to contain 85.5 square metres of deep soil. Within this space is an impermeable water feature occupying 7.75 square metres. Approximately a quarter of this rear area is also shown covered by concrete sleepers. That's drawing L15 surface conditions and L13 material pallets in the development application. And that's around 21.4 square metres, which significantly limits permeability and root growth. West of the site, the applicant has included a 20.7 square metre area of reinforced turf pavers. Such materials typically involve a concrete or reinforced base structure, making them unsuitable for tree planting or deep root systems, and therefore non-compliant. Similarly, the 27.8 square metre at the front of the property is designated grasscrete. Grasscrete material is to be used as described by the Australian Institute of Landscape Architects as usually 47% concrete and 53% whole to be filled with grass. Hence, where there is grasscrete listed, some 47% of the area were non-permeable and not capable for the growth of vegetation. In summary, this reduces the potential compliant deep soil area from 149.8 to approximately 72.15, less than half of what is required. Substituting concrete reinforced surfaces or impermeable design features undermines critical planning objectives. There's no apparent justification for failing to meet deep soil targets generally and meaningfully. Throughout the application, the applicant has sought approval for non-compliance with LEP and DCP. For example, building height, FSR, wall height standards. Building height proposed of 14.78 still exceeds by 23% maximum standard of 12 metres. The variation to height standard is not integral to the site redevelopment, as this can be achieved with a compliant built form. The FSR reduction of a previous application to 1.25, when the LEP provides for 0.9, means that the development application, as it now stands, is still some 39% greater than the required standard. The DCP calls for a 10.5 metre wall height. The applicant seeks 14.06. That's page 104 of the Statement of Environmental Effects, being 4.01 metres or 34% greater than the standard. To paraphrase the LEC judgment, Hayek and Randwick City Council of 2023 on the previous DA of this site, the applicant's request does not demonstrate that compliance with the FSR building height, wall height standard is unreasonable or unnecessary. And has
3
not.
minutes now. Can you wind up now, please? 3 minutes. And if you can wind up now, please.
May I request an extension, Chair?
Yeah, 1 minute extension. We might have questions for you.
Thank you, Chair. And it is not demonstrated that the development application is consistent with the objectives of the FSR standard. My written submission to Council gave more detail of my objections and what I saw as misrepresentations, including this as a 4-storey building when it is by legislative definition a 5-storey building, the basement starting at street level, not below. That is, the building is located in the scenic foreshore protection area. This application does not safeguard the visual integrity and natural processes of coastal foreshore zone. The application results in the loss of heritage views from Bolmac, a heritage listed property to the north at 39 Arcadia Street. This proposal is symptomatic of someone unhappy with the referee's decision, returning again and again, chipping away while still exceeding rather than complying with the LEP and DCP. Appeasement should not be granted on the basis of repeated applications in breach of the design requirements of state legislation, local council, or community expectations. Thank you, panel.
Thank you. Now, panel, are there any questions or comments for this speaker?
Not from me.
So you mentioned heritage views from the property in Arcadia.
Yes, that's Bolmac, which is undergoing redevelopment at the moment.
And what basis do you have for
with
that assertion?
Just to clarify, Chair, the redevelopment will be taking out trees directly between Bolmac and number 23. So they'll be restoring the old view of Bolmac balconies, which are on the western side of Bolmac.
Sorry to interrupt. There's an existing pool at the back of the northwestern corner that serves 23 Baden Street. And then what you're talking about, is that 39 Arcadia?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I've included in my written submission of 11th of June.
So hang on, who was it? So who was the author of the written submission of the 11th of June?
Myself.
So you or your partner? We're just pulling that up. Sorry?
Patrick, yeah.
What was your
Patrick
partner's name?
It's on
Justine Sullivan, beg your pardon, yeah, it's on the screen, sorry. We've got Justine Sullivan's.
I wasn't able to change. This is, I'm not able to.
No, we're just trying to find the submission, the written submission. Is it in your name or her name?
My name should be. Looking at it.
Just asking for it to be pulled up now so we can.
It's in the name of Cunningham, Maurice Patrick Cunningham.
Yeah, we've got it.
We've got it. Okay. All right. Well, look, now's not the time to go through that chapter and verse, but we'll give that further, more detailed consideration now that you've drawn that to our attention.
Just want to re-emphasise that redevelopment will be taking out trees and vegetation which has grown up over the years between Bolmac and 23.
Well, that's on another site though, isn't it? That's not part of this development.
Yes, but what it does is restore the view from the heritage listed. And under
I see.
I'm saying that
I take your point. Okay, thank you. That's it. We need to move on. Thanks very much, Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Chair.
Now we have the applicant, Jenny Askin, consultant planner on behalf of the applicant. Jenny, hello.
Thank you. Hi, thank you, Chair, and thank you, panel. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this afternoon. Firstly, I'd like to say that we welcome the recommendation for approval and we thank council staff for their assistance in the assessment of this matter. As you're aware, the site has been the subject of LEC proceedings and the collaboration with council has now brought us to this position. First off, in relation to conditions, I'd just like to discuss condition 20. This requires a display at the front of the site to achieve appropriate sightlines for cars leaving the site. Yep. The proposal seeks to site the hydrant booster to the southwestern corner, and this would prevent the provision of a display. This was discussed in the submitted traffic report with a recommendation to provide a convex mirror in lieu of display. We request that this condition be amended to allow for the mirror as opposed to display, and this would facilitate the booster to the front of the site. I'd like to then move on just to talk about the issues that were raised by.
Excuse me, Laura. Hang on, before you move on. Sorry to interrupt. These convex mirrors will be on the street boundary? Is that the idea?
Would they be on the frontage, but obviously within the site? There's actually shown in the traffic report. So the condition could refer specifically to the traffic report. There is a section. Apologies, I don't have it open in front of me, but there is a section that discusses this. within the traffic report.
Okay. Thank you. Please proceed. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, so just in response to some of the issues raised today, in terms of landscaping, this has been maximised where possible, and it is beyond that which currently exists on the site and does comply with the ADG. The water feature to the rear has actually been deleted from the proposal. And also there is a condition that requires the deep soil area to the front to be deep soil. So Council's landscape officer recommended a condition to say that it is to be primarily deep soil and is to contain a tree. In terms of heritage, I'd just like to make the comment that Council's heritage officer has reviewed the proposal and considers it suitable, and it will not affect the significance or the setting of the heritage item at 39 Arcadia Street. In terms of privacy, there has been some discussion, but also it has been adequately addressed in the report. And it confirms that the design does allow for adequate visual and acoustic privacy. In relation to the terrace, this is set in from the boundaries and set back from the front, and it's at a finished level that will not affect privacy. Solar access, it has been designed to maximise solar access to adjoining buildings relative to the existing situation and also a compliant building envelope. The development would actually result in less overshadowing to both 17 to 19 Baden and to number 23. There is some slight additional overshadowing to number 23, but it does receive the required 3 hours. In relation to view loss, there is a view analysis, and this is also discussed extensively in the report. The assessment confirms that it will have a minor impact on views from units 8 and 13 of 23 Baden Street, and it's not caused by the components that breach the height control. And the proposal has also been identified as being a skillful design. It's of a suitable bulk and scale in a visual sense, and it achieves views sharing. In addition, there is a significant improvement on the proposal that was the subject of the previous appeal in terms of views. There have been 3 clause 4.6 variations. I won't go through them in depth, but it is our contention that the controls are unreasonable and unnecessary in the circumstances of this matter, and that we achieve the objectives of the control and they don't result in any amenity impacts. That's basically covered everything that I would like to say. So we just ask that the panel endorse the recommendation subject to the amending of condition 20. The owner and the applicant is actually in attendance today as well. So both of us are available for any questions.
Thank you. There may be some questions or comments from the panel on this one. Anything? You mentioned the roof deck and privacy. How do you say that's achieved?
So it's set in from the boundary.
Well, it's the other issue too. Yeah, go on. Sorry, acoustic privacy as well as visual privacy.
So acoustic privacy, it's associated obviously with a residential development. Yep. That terrace is not a communal terrace. It's only being used by the residents of that particular dwelling. It's set in from the boundary. And so you've already got 5 meters from the edge of 23 Baden, and then you've got another, apologies, it's not dimensioned. I can just check. There's probably another 3.5 meters from the boundary. So that would be a separation of 8.5 to 9 meters.
Roof terrace here is fine.
So you can see this clearly on A205.
About 9 meters. It's 3 meters. The setback of the planted bed roof. You know, that sort of landscape roof, and you're further than that. So it's about maybe 9 meters setback from the nearest part of number 23.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
So you're saying separation provides privacy?
That's correct. And again, as I've mentioned, it's not a communal terrace. It's just associated with that upper level unit.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, this is, I think, is it worth contemplating whether there ought to be any reduction in size of that roof terrace to, by incorporating planter beds or something around the perimeter, maybe, to reinforce a sense of privacy?
That's what I was going to say. It's quite large. That terrace is quite large, and given the concerns raised from the neighbours next door, have you thought about reducing the size of that terrace and the provision of planter beds, which allows shrubs, which will help with acoustics and visual?
Whether or not it helps with acoustics, it's a perceptive thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And would you have you thought about that? And would you be averse to or open to a condition requiring something on the perimeter?
Yeah. So it's not something I've put my mind to. I might get the applicant to make a comment, but and again, it wasn't something that was raised by council, so we haven't sort of gone into looking at that. But Joseph, do you want to say anything in reply to potentially a condition?
Hello,
you're on mute.
Did you hear what we said, Joseph?
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Good afternoon. I had it on mute. Yeah. Good afternoon. Look, I went through this process with council after the Land Environment Court and designed it to a situation where we set back from the front, we set back from both sides. We had some planter boxes, you know, on the sides and all that, but doing that was going to restrict not only their view but our view as well. So we just put the clear glass there. And we feel that we've achieved both situations, and that was what we were happy with, and that's what we like. You know, that's what we want to be able to also enjoy the you know, the view of the beach in front of us. And if we set that, sorry,
you and 50 of your best friends by the size of that terrace.
Look, you know, we're hitting our 60s, 70s. I don't know if I've got 50 best friends left, but you know, we just want to enjoy that with our kids and our grandkids in future. And if I set it back further, you will be looking at street tops. We won't be looking at we'll be looking at the rooftops at the other side of Coogee. We won't be able to look down onto the view from there. That was the reasoning.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
You answered the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to say.
So thank you, Ms. Askin and Mr. Hay.
Okay, thank you.
Deliberating on this matter and providing our answers in the next few days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we move on to the next item for which we have a speaker, which is item D31. 25, and it's for land at 56 to 58 Brim Street, Coogee. Development application number 19/2025. I have Shane Bennett, an objector, to speak. Is Shane Bennett with us? Can't see Mr. Bennett. I assume it's Mr. Bennett.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. You're Shane Bennett.
Thank you for allowing.
Can I just ask you, I should have asked some of the earlier people, where are you in relation to, or in relation to this proposal? Are you a neighbour? Are you speaking on behalf of someone?
Yes,
What's your interest in this matter?
What happens is, if you look at the, if you actually look at the plans, it actually makes reference to SP 2101. That's the property. That's the property that my family owns.
You're speaking on behalf of your family, is that right? You're not a resident, or you are a resident?
Look, it's a family home.
Your family.
It's a family home, but it's currently tenanted out. See, I'm in the Defence Force. I'm currently posted away, and so since I'm posted away, but my intention is to reside in there with my wife and daughter.
Yep, just that's enough. Thank you. And what was the address, sir?
It's unit it's number 75 to 77 Dolphin Street, Coogee. It's the apartment block on the south side of the park.
75 to 77 Dolphin. Thank you. Please proceed.
I've basically put up my submission through to you, which I trust that you have. For me, the main concerns that are coming from this development is I'm on the ground floor of that apartment block, and the courtyard is actually below the ground level of the development in question. Looking at the height of the building, looking at its positioning along the north, particularly in regards to the shade lines, I'm actually concerned that this application is going to have a considerable impact on the value of the property, but also the amenity and the running costs that we're going to have with my family.
Right.
The courtyard, in essence, most of the time during the summer, you can get natural light in there. Obviously, during winter, being underneath the ground level, there's a lower scope. There's a lower scope of time where there's actually light coming into there. My concerns are that looking at the light diagram, it's going to block out. It's going to potentially block out a lot of the light from coming to the courtyard, and also to the large glass windows that let light into the back end of the apartment, particularly during winter.
Right.
And the thing that I find most concerning about it too is, in essence, this application has gone through for this apartment block. In all honesty, I would have welcomed some consultation from the developer. I would have been quite happy to talk about that.
Fair enough.
In essence, I see this having an impact on the amenity and on the value of the property. And as I said, there's been no consultation around this. And a part of why I'm doing this is it's my hope that my daughter is going to live in there after I'm gone.
That's fine. Thank you. Panel, is there any more you want to say, Mr. Bennett?
Yes, sir.
Is that you finished? Is that it for the moment? Well, are there any questions from the panel of this speaker? No, I don't. I think we understand your concerns, Mr. Bennett. So thank you very much. We'll deliberate on the matter and you'll get the outcome in a week and days. Thank you. I think we've now heard from all the registered speakers. So in accordance with the panel guidelines adopted at the panel meeting of 13 December 2018, the public meeting will now be closed and the panel will deliberate and vote on each matter in a closed session. Outcomes from voting and determination will be made available through Council's website in the following days. An audio recording of the public meeting will also be available through Council's website.